Today we're going over Taishokotos from the companies Palm Harp, Shiu-Hou, and Iwama-gakki. These are some more obscure and rare brands that are out there. You'll find them, but there's fewer and people often mislabel them. We have 2 Palm Harps, 2 Shiu-Hous, and 1 Iwama-gakki. I'll label them as the demos come up, but today we're starting with the demos. Often I like to let the demos do the talking and keep reviewing to a minimum, but with these I have a lot of thoughts and I think the recorded audio doesn't quite do it justice. Sometimes you do lose a little in the audio. Of course it's all personal opinion, so I urge you to listen and judge for yourself before my thoughts. Also to note, some of them have electric pickups. For those I did one recording, so I used the same video but recorded acoustic and electric audio at the same time. You'll see each back to back for an idea of what the same performance sounds like in both scenarios. So first up we have the dark colored Palm Harp. This one sounded really nice. I specifically wanted to point out in the demo the nice mid-range even though I don't hit a bass or drone string. Palm Harp often don't have the model name printed on them, but I've seen a lot of Taishokoto and I'm pretty sure this one is made from Kiri, which is paulownia wood. Sometimes the wood doesn't fit the instrument, which is kind of how I felt about the Nardan 9-string paulownia wood model. Here, it felt correct. This one was a prime example of a good Kiri model. The second up was the Palm Harp that looked very polished. I don't know the model name for this one. The only marking on the Taishokoto is the school name on the side. I can say this one sounds good for the most part, but it does get a bit too shrill in the high notes. Then for Iwama-gakki, we have the Hagoromo. This one was weird. It felt like a super light material to the point of feeling cheap. The keys and even the backplate connecting the top and bottom are made of a cheap feeling plastic as well. With that said, I strangely liked it. The lows feel low, the highs feel high, and everything is super crisp. I think the material lacks resonance, and without the sustain, everything sounds pristine. This does come at the cost of sounding a little weak, but it makes it a little unique. This one is a real love-hate with me, and I feel a little too biased from how it feels to be a great judge on the sound. Iwama-gakki was and is a wholesaler of musical instruments. They used to, however, be much more involved in teaching the Taishokoto. Looking through their site now, you'll see a lot of instruments, but no Taishokoto. This is because as far as Taishokoto go, they actually split off into the company Lyrissh. You'll actually see on the Lyrissh website that they state they used to be Iwama-gakki. Lyrissh is a great company that makes amazing stuff, so that's a definite tick for the Iwama-gakki instruments. You can also see on the Lyrissh website that they state the Generation 1, 2, and 3 Taishokoto in their words. The Type 2 are the ones they used to make from Iwama-gakki, and Type 3 are what they make now with Lyrissh. The Type 2 in their picture is not an Iwama-gakki instrument, but it is the same style. The keynote is the uneven key spacing, aka not the keyboard style. There's likely some missing link here where there's some overlap between the generations and the companies switching, but that's not what we're concerning ourselves with here. I'll have an entirely different video to go over Lyrissh devices in general. Next is the dark Shiu-Hou model. This one I know is Kiri paulownia wood, and the model name is just Kiri, so the simplicity is nice for a change. You can definitely hear the difference from the Kiri Palm Harp. This one in my opinion sounds more shrill in the high registers and generally doesn't have as clean a sound. Don't get me wrong, a better player than I could make it shine, but I like the clarity that the Palm Harp model gives. All that said, this one does seem to have a little more volume to it, and it comes standard with a pickup. The pickup could of course be put on the Palm Harp if you were so inclined. Then the last one is a light colored Shiu-Hou for which I don't have the model. This one is heavy and feels well crafted. It of course might not be, I don't know the internal structure, but the weight plays psychological tricks much like it did in the opposite direction with the Hagoromo. Upon playing, this one surprised me. It was a little darker than the Kiri, but it had the same kind of sound. It is a little fuzzy, lacks crisp highs, and it's almost like the sub-frequencies are muddying the pure tone of each note. That said, it happens a little less than it did with the Kiri version, likely due to the darker nature. I think the Shiu-Hou designs are just not conducive to isolating sharp highs. To be clear, I'm not saying this is good or bad, it just seems like an aspect of the designs. I would very much like to try some more Shiu-Hou models to see what else they have to offer. I don't want to pigeonhole them. I think I pigeonholed the Kimura designs in an earlier episode, and I still owe it to those instruments to explore other models. All in all, an interesting batch, and I'll leave it at that.